First Congregational may be the second oldest black congregational church in America, but as its name suggests, it's a church of many firsts that's had a lasting impact on this city.
The first public drinking fountain for blacks in Atlanta was right outside this church, the Connolly Fountain. Before that, blacks had to drink out of horse troughs.
150 years into its legacy, First Congregational Church remains steadfast in its social justice ministry.
How ironic at 150 that many of the ills that the church sought to address 150 years ago, issues of racism and issues of power and greed, how many of those issues persist today.
It is the muscle that powers our movement.
The historic church on Cortlandt Street is in the midst of an 18-month celebration. Reverend Dwight Andrews has been the senior minister here for more than 20 years.
It was a national institution because just as Atlanta was seen as a place of Negro progress at the turn of the century, First Church was seen as a part of that.
The church was founded in 1867 as the Storrs School to educate freed slaves.
Things like the orphanage for children. We had a girls' training school so that kids that were coming in from the country would develop skills.
First Congregational was so successful in the early days that it caught the attention of whites in the North who wanted to come down here and see what the colored folk were doing.
Presidents Taft and Roosevelt came to First Church in the early 1900s.
100 years later, much of the original church is still intact. The stained glass windows, balconies, and floors remain.
So people can see how they did this by hand.
Longtime member and civil rights activist Ambassador Andrew Young commissioned the handmade cross that hangs in the sanctuary. Simple yet elegant in its beauty and meaning.
I said, I wish somebody could make for me a real cross. Not a gold-plated cross, a silver cross.
Ambassador Young was hired by the church in 1961 to work with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
The church trained me to serve the world.
These days, First Congregational Church is working to serve more of the community, particularly when it comes to attracting young members.
The answer might be out of the box. They might want to gather on Saturday nights or Sunday nights, and it might not be a traditional worship service, and we might not dress up. And I think we need to be willing to meet people where they are.
The church's next anniversary event will be November 18th. It's open to the public. It's a night of music honoring black composers featuring the Clark Atlanta University Choir and the Agnes Scott Collegiate Chorale.